What up, y'all?
This is Brittany.
I'm Mandisa.
And I'm Jamal.
And we are your hosts of...
We're your hosts of...
And we're the host of...
Living Millennial.
Living Millennial.
Living Millennial.
A podcast where you'll be hearing three different perspectives and emerging stories from three different millennials on everyday life and trending topics.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to our first episode of Living Millennial.
I am Brittany.
And I'm Mandisa.
And we want y'all to get to know us.
So let's dive in.
Mandisa, how you doing today, my love?
I'm good. Got first rehearsal tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Always fun. So like you said, let's dive in.
Yeah.
Who were you as a kid growing up?
I'm the youngest of three. And my older sister wasn't always the best role model. So in turn from that, I was a good kid. I was a good girl.
Total opposite of me.
I followed most of the rules. I don't even remember at what age, but I figured, okay, I'll follow the rules until I can make them, until I'm out of my parents' house and I'm in charge of me. I, even to this day, especially around older family members, I will slip into the role of peacemaker, and still not really cause a rise amongst family members. I was always pretty responsible. Like my parents could always count on me. I was never the kid who actually ate the cookie from the cookie jar. It was always my sister, but she lied.
Why you look at me when you said that? You looked me dead in my eye.
Did you take the cookies?
Girl, I ate all the cookies.
Oh,
Girl, I'm
look,
listening.
okay.
I ate all the cookies.
And actually my name, Mandisa, means sweet. So I feel like even to this day, I, for the most part, live up to that. Dulce.
Oh my gosh.
What about you? You said you were pretty much the opposite of me.
Yeah, girl, I was a crazy kid.
Ooh,
I was a crazy kid. So let's start with this. So my mom don't call me out later.
Yes.
I was kicked out of 3 preschools.
Boom. Okay.
1 elementary school.
Yes.
Basically kicked out of 1 junior high, but I was always the kid that was in trouble.
Yeah.
I low-key had a problem with authority. Like, if you were an adult and you spoke to me, like, in a rude way.
Yeah. Because
the way my parents brought me up was, like, you have to give respect to get respect.
Mm-hmm.
So I took that to a whole nother level. I'm like, I don't care if I'm a kid, I'm a human, so you need to speak to me with a certain amount of respect. And I don't think a number of adults did. This is teachers and even my parents at some point. Like I gave my parents hell. But yeah, I was definitely the bad kid, had a problem with authority. I was always in detention or suspended or something.
Yeah.
But I was like super into sports and like low key, everybody loved me. Like,
oh,
I was still like the cool kid, right? Like
yeah.
but I was always in trouble. Teachers always knew about me. Principals always knew about me. I was voted class clown in high school, which was a shock to me. I didn't even know like people even were doing all that. But I was voted class clown in high school, so that says a lot.
Yes.
But besides like, you know, my rebellious parts of myself, I was still just I feel like I was a dope kid. Like I was responsible when I needed to be, for the most part. Sorry, Mom. My mom would probably say something different. But yeah, for the most part, I was like, if I wasn't in trouble, I was the total opposite. I'm like a little Sour Patch. Like if I wasn't getting in trouble, I was like trying to help everybody.
Yeah.
You know, like it was crazy. My parents probably didn't know who they were going to get when I woke up every day. So, and I bullied the bullies. Like I wasn't necessarily the kid who will start stuff, but like, and I didn't necessarily have a lot of people who started things with me. Mm-hmm. But if I see you picking on somebody, I'm going to stand up for that one person. So a lot of the times I got in trouble and I was getting into it with kids in class, it had a lot to do with them picking on other kids too.
I feel like you had a profoundly deep understanding of how of like being a kid and sticking up for like not a lot of kids actually do that. Like they say that, oh, that's what they want to see.
Yeah.
In other kids, but not a lot of kids actually do that.
I never thought twice about it. And even to this day, like I can find myself in situations like trying to stop people and save all these hoes. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So would you say that you took on the role of protector?
Oh yeah. Wholeheartedly. And you know what's crazy? This is also why I got in trouble for a lot of reasons, but it's also why I got in trouble. What started to happen, I think like maybe third grade. It probably happened before then, but I went from one school to another in the middle of the school year. So it was like new kids, obviously, all new kids. And I didn't even know like not one kid in class, but there was like a group of girls and we were friends like off and on. Anyway, that's another story. But what they would do though was they would get every week or two, they would pick out one girl in class that they just did not like. Right. And then knowing how crazy I was, and like I'm down to throw down at any point, right? Like on site is me, like that. Yeah, that's me, right? So what they did was they would get me to, like pick on whoever they were picking on,
right,
that week, but they would make me take it I'm not gonna say they would make me, but I would take it further.
Yeah.
And they were like, I would let them like push me into girl. Remember you ever seen that happen? Like you're in line in the bathroom and you know people don't like each other in the line and you push your friend into that one girl like to get them to fight and stuff. So stuff like that would happen all the time. And I think eventually I was like, okay, y'all calm down. Y'all picking out all these random ass people. Yeah. I'm the one getting in trouble. Like,
while y'all
chill
instigating
out.
This.
Right. Like I'm over here thinking I'm protecting y'all. Yeah. And
y'all putting on a show.
Ooh. Girl, but that's okay. But I've changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhat I have changed. But so back to you. So you told us who you were growing up, basically, right? Or kind of like who you are, because you was damn sure that you're still sweet. And I cannot argue with that.
I'm blushing.
But so what experiences have you had that, maybe impacted how you operate today?
There's two that come to mind when I think of that. One is, and this was a pretty prevalent thing growing up because we only had one TV in our house. And so basically whatever my dad flipped the channel to was what we were watching. So, when commercials would come on, or even if it was the news that would come on and you see the reporters, my dad was always pointing out how people of color, especially Black people, were represented in a commercial or on the news or on any particular TV show that we're watching. And so to this day, every billboard I look at, every commercial, every ad that I see, the first thing that pops into my head is...
Where are Black people at?
Exactly. Yes. Where we at?
Where Black folks?
And if we are there, are we front and center? Are we smaller and in the back of this? Is there a Black woman in there with is she wearing her hair natural? Is her hair straightened? Is she, what's her skin tone like? And then colorism is a whole different thing, a whole nother conversation. But is this a light-skinned Black woman with light eyes? Like if you were to turn your head for a second right quick, like would you mistake the fact that she's actually not Black? Like would you just be like, oh great, another person? So noting how Black people, Black women, and in general people of color, how we are represented, not represented, and misrepresented in the media, what kind of public jobs we have, like how many, I mean, it's the number has grown now, but growing up, I didn't see many Black news anchors or reporters or meteorologists. I don't want to say weatherman because, weather people. But to not see someone who looks like me a lot in the media or in commercials or whatever, that's always in the forefront of my brain when I look at those things, or when I walk into a rehearsal room at work, and I immediately take note of, okay, how many people in this cast are of color? Who else on this team might have a shared experience with me? Who in this room, who in this process can I relate to, that we're going to be together for like 3 months at a time, making work, making magic? Who is on my side in this? Who do I have as an ally? Yeah. So that's one thing.
Which, let me just say really quickly, I think it's awesome that you called that out, because I think a lot of us make note of that without even knowing. We do it unconsciously. Yeah. And so the fact that you just like express that and make note of that, I think that's super, super important, because I can't tell you how many people like I've had conversations with, and, and they tell about, they give a certain story, and we'll legit ask that question. You know how we do. We'll ask the question like, were they white?
Yeah. Right.
Were they white?
Was this a white lady?
Yeah.
She did that?
Right.
She did.
It was a room full of white people. Like, so, and then we obviously have to say, yeah. Like reluctant, like, but sometimes it's real, like we super reluctant. We don't want to say but we say yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
The other thing that kind of changed how I operate with family and my take on life now is being the good kid, also trying to balance out my sister getting in trouble. And I'm like, I don't want to be that burden on my family. I want Brittany is like, that was me.
I'm sorry.
Not wanting to add that extra burden or weight to my family. For a long time, this took me, I think, into college to start to break from this. Was I would do things or maybe present things. I wasn't a liar as a kid, but present things to my parents in a way that was pleasing to them. Like one thing in college, this was towards the end, I think maybe going into my last year, my senior year, I, with my then boyfriend, leased a house. We were renting a house, and I didn't tell my mom until years later that my name was also on that lease. I was like, I'm helping him look for an apartment. And so like, I'll be there frequently. So
not only did she didn't even know you were living with him too?
Yeah, like.
Does she know now? She know now.
Yes.
Okay.
I came clean.
Hi, Mom. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, it's free. Next, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and many more. You can also make money from your podcast, y'all, with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's Anchor, ANCHOR.FM, and get started.
It was close to campus, so like that worked out. Because I was supposed to be staying on campus, and I did have a room, but like I wasn't there much. Mm-hmm. I had my car with me then, so I was like, bye. But yeah, like my name To this day, actually, I should do that because I don't live in that city anymore. We should talk about that. Anyway,
I'm like, what?
I got
What,
somebody to call. But I was like, no, I can't say this because in fear of the judgment that they would have on my life choices or whatever my thought process was at the time.
Are you sure you weren't thinking like, I'm grown, I ain't got to tell them nothing?
I think I'm more like that now. Like there's some things where I'm like, yes, I did that, or yes, I do that, and I'm not.
Oh.
Okay. And I'm like, you don't need to know because it's none of your business. Or like, I'm over here living my life, and this doesn't impact you. I'm good. Like I'm still responsible. Yeah. And I follow what rules I want to these days.
See, I'm still the opposite of that now because I'm like, oh, my mama asked me anything. I'm like,
and you spill it?
Yeah, if I'm not expecting it, then I can't lie. Well, I can't lie anyway, but if I'm expecting it, I can like circle around it like a politician. I could be like, oh, or I can try to dodge it.
Yeah.
With my dad mostly. My mom will always find a way to try to get back to it, or she'll be like, and let me go. Because she probably knows the answer. But if I'm not expecting it, I cannot lie, and I will probably answer before I even think about anything else.
Yeah.
That's bad. Yeah, girl.
They get you. They get
man,
you.
That's because my mom is just, she's the best. Like, you just can't lie to that sweet little angel.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I love my mom. Yes.
Even though she just threatened to punch my lights out today.
I low-key might have heard that. What?
I know. You heard it? I was like, huh? And she gave me the edited version, she said too, because she was like, oh, yeah.
All right.
Yes, but okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but.
Oh no, you're good. But that all in turn has, and especially as I grow as a woman, grow personally in my field, and in life, it in turn has made me really take to heart speaking my truth and what that means to me in every situation that I can do so. Sometimes something may pop up and you're like, ooh, and it'll take me a minute.
Yeah.
It might take me a minute to find my words. Words are kind of hard for me. Like if I could interpret dance my way through life, I might take that up.
I've seen it. I understand it. That's all that matters.
It's great. Thank you for translating. But speaking my truth and choosing to engage or not engage in certain things and protecting my energy from certain conversations or subjects or people that I'm like, this is not worth my time. I will not engage. Ghost.
Douches.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about ghosting.
Yes.
One of these days.
It's a great hobby. No, I'm
sitting across from the queen of ghosting.
Yes.
That's what I do.
They need an emoji with like a ghost and a crown.
to the side.
Dear Emma.
With a peace sign. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could dig it. Protecting your energy, I feel like that's dope. That's something that I have definitely learned over the years.
Yeah.
I feel like I've always done it. But to be able to articulate that and be like, no, I'm protecting my energy. Like almost like Maxine Waters reclaiming her time. Like, hey, you want to go out tonight? No, I'm protecting my energy. I got the sage burning. I don't need you. Yes. But so that's super interesting. You really are legit like the opposite of me.
That's so funny.
Which is crazy.
Peanut butter and jelly.
Legit. And I think that's why like we click so much. Like there are some things that we do see eye to eye on, but like you legit are the total opposite but there is one thing that you said that made sense to me so I'm the youngest.
Yes.
There's only two of us, but I'm the baby. I claim to be the baby all the time. I'm the favorite. And one thing that you said was like, it was almost like you learn from your sister's mistakes, basically, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I was kind of doing the same, but she was definitely doing the same with me.
Oh, I see.
Since I was like the troublemaker, I was the one I was talking back. I was the one like just off the walls type of stuff, right? But there were some things that I learned. There were some things she would either get caught doing or get in trouble for or whatever. And it was basically the same. I feel like that, you know, could probably be the same relationship with any siblings unless somebody popped out kids that ain't nobody learning nothing. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like you are definitely more like my sister because as she's sitting here with glasses, wearing glasses like my sister does.
I can't see.
We are blind. But I feel like that's definitely where you guys are the same because there would be times I would probably be getting my ass whooped, girl, and she would just close the door. I'm like, I don't even want to hear it. Yeah, like, sorry. And I feel like that put a strain on our relationship growing up. But now, like, especially since my nephew's here, my attitude towards her has changed. I'm so appreciative that she brought like my favorite person on this earth, right? And especially since a lot of the conversations are about him.
Yeah.
And just how perfect he is.
He's so cute.
I know he's the best. He's my baby. But definitely, speaking of Michael, my nephew, his being born, like, completely changed me. Yeah. Like, I feel like a lot of things that I was getting in trouble for were just not worth it. Like, immediately I felt like I knew that I had to set a great example for this kid. And immediately I knew that I had to work so hard to make sure that he was good. Yeah. And immediately I had to think more about the future and not just what's happening in that moment, right? Like, think about, okay, if I say this, if I say this one negative thing to this one person who probably deserves me to say some negative shit to them, what will be the real impact? We gonna fight. Right. First of all. And I'm gonna go to jail. Second of all. And I can't see my nephew. Third of all. So
actually, all of them are equally.
You're like, no, everything's important. So thinking about him and the impact of my actions on him was always, once he was born, I was always something that was on my mind. And then pairing that with, college. Yeah. College was interesting. So we will definitely talk about our college experiences down the line. For sure. But there was a few experiences, but there was one experience in particular that really changed my way of thinking when it comes to other people and how I react to other people, specifically people who are not of the same culture as myself. Because I don't necessarily like to say race because there's only one race, the human race, right? We've all heard that. But so people who are not Black or who are unaware of the Black experience in its entirety, even, half of it. So my way of reacting to them was a lot different because in high school, I had come across a lot of people who asked a lot of questions, crazy questions. One girl in particular who was on my basketball team. She was a year under me. And one day I was in, I was, in school like everybody else. And the whole time I've known her for probably the couple weeks that we were practicing, I just had my hair out, right? At that time, it's permed, it's short, it's probably in a ponytail or half ponytail or anything, something like that. The half ponytail, yeah, which all these bras trying to bring it back, but
and it's like
we been did that. Trying to like make baby hairs like stop it. You can stop now. But and then so I'm the whole time I've known her, I've had, basically just my hair is out. And then basketball season started. So I had to get braided up. Right. And I remember seeing this girl and she literally is looking at me with like the biggest eyes. She's super stuck, like she's seen a ghost. And she goes, "How did your hair grow so fast?" And at that time, Brittany at that time was like, "Are you stupid?"
Yeah.
And walked away laughing. Right?
Like, obviously, what? What? If we could all grow our hair this, like, what?
Right.
How?
Right.
What miracle drug?
Right. So my reaction to comments like that, and even certain prejudice, things that are just plainly ignorant, and even just flat out racism. Like, I, of course, had my experience with flat out racism.
Yeah.
My reaction to that will always be super aggressive, right? Like, what the fuck? And then, of course, everyone else's response to my aggressive reaction was, oh, like, ooh, don't go all mad Black woman on me. And then, anything that I would have to say of value was not impacted on them, right? So my last year of college, actually, it was in a diversity communications class, and it was my favorite professor's class. And we had our last group project, and each group worked on a different culture. And
this is dicey already.
And I think there was about 5 of us in a group. I'm gonna let you guess what culture my group worked on.
Black.
African American. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm gonna let you guess how many Black people were actually in the group.
It was a group of 5.
It's a group of 5.
You were in this group, so I'm gonna go with 1.
Ding 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 ding.
Oh no!
All right. Winner, chicken dinner. You are correct. So what I learned, I'm not going to go into great detail, but what I learned from that group project and some of the questions that were asked of me was that, not everybody learns about Black history the same way that I did.
Right.
Not everybody learns about Black history the same that a lot of Black kids will learn in majority Black schools. So those questions can be legitimate questions that they genuinely do not know.
Right.
It sounds weird to us. It sounds rude to us. It sounds prejudiced to us. But they are legitimate questions. When we talked about, I told them, I said, hey, research Frederick Douglass and Phillis Wheatley. They didn't know who those people were.
Not even Frederick.
Not even Frederick Douglass. I was floored. Oh, wow. I was floored.
Sorry, his biography or the narrative. What is it? The narrative. It's in another box. The narrative of Frederick Douglass. It's not even. It's a great book. If I'm sure you have.
Have I? I don't think I have. If I have, I probably need to read it again because I cannot think of what's what right now. But yeah, like the fact that they didn't know who those people were. Yeah. And then I started reading up more over the years and just to hear like how hard of a fight it is for scholars to get real Black history in textbooks.
Yes.
Right? And like how like it's like they're butting heads over this type of over these things. So it really hit me like how real it is that we all learn differently. And I also have to be very mindful of how I respond to other folks, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so instead of being super angry at certain comments or even certain questions, no matter who's asking it, no matter who's saying what, my response is much different than it was when I was younger. Yeah. I would just react and not think about it. I'm an Aries, so anything come out of my mouth and I'm aware of what's going to come out of my mouth and I'm well aware of how it can ruin your life.
Oh, yes.
So now I've become very selective on who's worth spending that type of energy for. Because I legit can ruin your life and walk away and not think twice about it, right? Yeah. But I'm much more of a positive person now than I've ever been. Mm-hmm. I always think about, okay, what's the good in this? What's the good in that? What's the good in this person? What's the good in that person? Instead of, just saying negative things and saying crazy stuff just to say it. Yeah. Or just to get a laugh. I never understood that. So, and yeah, my nephew plays a huge part in that too. Like, my precious little baby. Because I'm sure he thinks about me like, this woman is crazy. But she's onto something, right? He's probably like, oh, I need to think about what this crazy lady got to say. They know what's up. But yeah, but overall, it's just, you know, how I respond to folks has been the main thing that's changed. And moving to California has been a big part of that as well.
Yeah.
I'm much more Chi-town. So the Chicago mentality versus the Cali, specifically the San Diego, the SoCal mentality is mad different. Yeah. It's so different. Like, it's hard enough to get people to understand me when I say pop. Right. Instead of soda. But
yes, thank you.
I'm like, no, I don't drink pop.
It goes
They're like, this is
like
soda.
It goes pop.
Oh, yeah, I was talking about the bubbles.
Doesn't...
It's the pop.
Yeah, it goes pop.
You're smart.
Like, it doesn't go soda. It goes pop.
When you open the can, it goes boop. Not soda. Yeah, girl. But I try to tell people all the time. But that's those are things that's happened to me. That's definitely changed my life and changed my attitude. About life in general. Yeah. Yeah, I'm always thinking about, okay, if I do this, then what? Is this going to be positive? Is this going to be negative? Like, and 9 times out of 10 now I'm gonna choose a more positive route. Right. So
I dig it.
Yeah. That's me.
All right, friends, that's our show. Tune in next time.
Living Millennial. Hey, more to come.
More to come.
We are living millennial. Oh, ba 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 ba.
Be sure to subscribe to our show, follow us on IG, and tell us what you think.